Okay, that was very feeble. So let's try again. Karma,
Karma.
Karma.
Brahmodbhavam,
Brahmodbhavam.
Vidhi,
Vidhi.
Brahmakshara,
Brahmakshara.
Samudbhavam,
Samudbhavam.
Samudbhavam.
Tasmat,
Tasmat.
Tasmat.
Sarvagatam,
Sarvatam.
Sarvatam.
Brahma,
Brahma.
Brahma.
Nityam,
Nityam.
Nityam.
Yajne,
Yagne.
Yagne.
Pratishtitam.
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 So Lord Krishna is saying regulated activities are prescribed in Vedas. Means your activities have to be regulated. And the Vedas are directly manifested from Supreme Personality. So he's saying, I gave you the Vedas. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. So transcendence means crossing over ignorance where people are lazy and dull, crossing over passion where people are excited to make more money, get name, fame, honor, crossing over goodness, which is where people are calm and contented, but not really seriously trying to emancipate themselves or liberate themselves. Right? So transcendence means crossing over these three layers. So he's saying, consequently, all pervading transcendence. How do you cross? In the act of sacrifice. So sacrifice again is leading up to renunciation in the 18th chapter. We are still in 3rd chapter. So this karma activity should be done as a sacrifice. Normally we do fire sacrifice, yajna. You put some bricks, you put some wood, you put some ghee, you light a fire, you recite mantras, Purusha Suktam, various mantras. That is called a sacrifice. But this is also a sacrifice, which is performing your regulated activities. Activities as a grihastha, you have to do certain activities, but they have to be regulated and they should not be sinful. Sinful means like meat eating, drinking alcohol, having illicit sex outside of marriage, and gambling. These are 4 pillars of sin according to Srimad Bhagavatam. And a lot of people in America don't agree with that because America is based on these 4 things. So how do they agree? So the challenge is then you have to go back to scriptures. Like if you look at ancient scriptures from any tradition, these 4 things are forbidden. Like for example, if you look at the Mormons, Church of Latter-day Saints, they eat meat, but the remaining 3 they strongly avoid, right? Like illicit sex, gambling, and intoxication. One of the Mormon, I had a boss who was a Mormon. He would not even drink tea and coffee. He considered that intoxication, just like the Hare Krishnas. So the meat thing, some or the other, meat is a part of supposedly American culture, so we just have it. But they're decently pious, right? Because they avoid a lot of these other sinful activities, especially illicit sex outside of marriage. So yeah, go ahead, Chandra.
Prabhuji, can you please explain more, in more about the gambling portion? And got the first 3 things, the gambling.
Yeah,
Why
gambling disturbs your mind. For a yogi, gambling is definitely a bad thing. How it disturbs the mind is a gambler is playing a game, right? So he puts in $3 and he wants $10 back. And most of the time he loses his $3 because the dice are loaded in favor of the casino. Otherwise, how will casino make money, right? How will they have those big buildings in Las Vegas and other places? So, and it's a known fact. I mean, casinos have to make money. So therefore, you may have 45% chance of winning and casino will have 55% chance of winning. And as a result, if you look at millions of events, obviously 55% of the time the casino is winning and therefore they have huge profits, right? But this gambling, for the person who is gambling, it affects the psychology as well as is basic mental stability. And gambling can be of various kinds. If you have a job offer from Google and Amazon, you'll say Amazon stock is 3,200, Google stock is whatever it is, right? 1,500. There is a higher chance of Google stock going up, so I will join Google. So you're constantly gambling in life, but then that will cause disturbance of the mind, and a yogi should not gamble.
So is this allowed if it is not interrupting my any gambling or anything you say, right? Like passive investment, or let's say you're getting
Passive investment is okay. If you buy land and the land appreciates threefold, nobody's stopping you. That is your investment.
Yeah, because in I think in Quran or that states, I guess, even they are not allowed to get interests.
Quran even takes that a step further. Don't even earn interest on your money.
Right. Yeah, I was asking you. Okay.
But yeah, when how many people are really following Quran, right? Like I have one of my Muslim friends. We were talking in Montreal when I went there for office work during lunch. He was saying, yeah, we are not allowed to take interest, but who is following? He himself is saying, but who is following?
Yeah, it's only very few. It's only, rare. Like one of my colleagues is like 70 plus now, and he follows strictly, but he says sadly, not everyone following, including meat eating, right? Halal, and also no one is following that. So.
Actually, yeah, nobody's following any religion right now. That's the unfortunate part. So the planes to the spiritual world are going empty. They're taking off without any passengers. The planes are leaving, but there is nobody getting onto them. So, this is Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, 2nd chapter, 1st verse. Tatascha anudhinam dharmaha satyam saucham kshamadaya kalena balina rajan nangshat ayur balam smriti. So Sukadeva Goswami is telling Maharaj Parikshit. So Parikshit was cursed by a sage to die in 7 days. And then after 7 days, Takshaka comes and bites him, and he basically leaves his body. So he didn't say, oh, let me consolidate my 401k and my investments and sell the land and distribute the property between my kids. No. He said, I have nothing to do with this material world. He went to his guru, Sukadeva Goswami, and asks him, now that I'm about to die in 7 days, what is my duty? And then Sukadeva Goswami recites the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he gives up eating and sleeping. So for 7 days, 7 nights non-stop, he listens to the Srimad Bhagavatam, also known as Bhagavad Katha, to purify his soul, make it ready for liberation. We have at least 70 days to live, but who knows, right? We could die even tomorrow. But at least we have some runway. He didn't have that runway. He had only 7 days. So he made the best use of it. And we should also make the best use of our little life that is left. We are all like 40, 45 plus on this call. Another 20 years, chapter close. So not much time left. We have to make use of it. So what does he say? Satyam, Saucham, Kshamadaya. There are 4 pillars of religion. Satyam means truthfulness. Saucham means cleanliness. Kshama means tolerance. Daya means mercy. These 4 qualities are not there. Truthfulness is lost by gambling. Right? Let's write this down. So let's write the whole verse down, and then we'll write the each one of these individual things. So Satyam is truthfulness destroyed by gambling. A gambler can never say the truth because his whole mental model is always one of confusion. Oh, did I win? Did I lose? Maybe I should try again. And in this way, his whole life is consumed by that. Saucham means cleanliness. So this is more than just cleanliness of body, that you can take a bath, but this cleanliness of the heart. Destroyed by illicit sex or sex outside Vedic marriage. So illicit sex is many kinds, right? You could have, somebody cheating on their spouse and having sex outside, or even for that matter, gay sex or lesbian sex, all that is illicit sex. And this is pretty much accepted by Bible and Quran also. Meat eating they don't accept, but gambling also to a certain degree, Bible and Quran also accept that. Kshama, tolerance. Destroyed by animal killing. Daya, mercy is, so animal killer can never be tolerant. You'll always try to do the one-upmanship, like try to always be superior to the next guy. Mercy is destroyed by intoxication. A drunkard can never be merciful. Intoxication, including tea and coffee, right? Of course, the main things are alcohol, marijuana. Including tea and coffee, because they're mild intoxicants. So what happens is, because these 4 pillars are destroyed by these 4 activities, therefore those 4 activities are forbidden, right? So number 1, 2, and actually let me reorder them. So even the Mormons follow the first 3. Right? The Christians, or at least the Bible and the Quran, follow the first 2. They have animal killing in them, right? Hinduism, modern Hinduism usually looks down upon this, but other things are allowed. Gambling, drinking, animal killing in the name, like they will sacrifice a goat to Kali, and they'll say you can eat meat. Actually, if you sacrifice to Kali, that's okay. But if you don't and kill it in a slaughterhouse, then it is a challenge. So yesterday, I did a presentation to some of my students. Let me find that for you. And we'll go through that. This is about meat eating. I have a 275-page deck. I do my recordings from this massive deck, including this class that is getting recorded, and it will be posted on YouTube. Yeah.